Oh my god. Okay. Ah. 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 How are you guys doing? How are you guys doing? Thank you guys so much for getting 100 likes on that post. I just want to say that now. What's up, Launch Shoot? Ah, you guys. 100 frickin' likes you got on that post. And now I have to say it 25k times because of you. Oh, thank you so much, sir. Oh my god. So yeah, oh my god. What's up, Loses? What's up, Lucky Number? What's up, Shan? What's up, Canoxy? Baby Girl? No, Baby Daniel. Why did I say that? Gamer Dude, Lenny, Leonardo, Canoxy, George, Smart Idiot, Opposite. You guys. Oh my god. What's up, Pixels? The only reason I'm doing this is because I did it 10,000 times about 2 months ago, if you remember this. And now I'm doing it again because I made a community post saying if I got 100 likes in 24 hours, I would do this. And you know what happened? It got freaking over 100 likes in like half the time. So I need to do this. So there's a ton of... This stream will probably be either very long or very short, all depending on the wheel decides. So if you guys don't know, you guys can donate $2 to spin the wheel, and spin the wheel can either be a good thing or bad thing for me. Wait, wrong thing. For me, if you want to help me out, but basically I have a chance of either getting plus 2,000, minus 1,000, plus 5,000, minus 3,000, or times 2. And I have a chance, and you donate $2, and I spin the wheel. So yeah, if you want to do that, that's the spin the wheel. I'm just gonna spin it 100 times because I don't want to risk losing anything. But yeah, hopefully the stream's all set up. I'm just trying to make sure everything's working. There we go. So yeah, how are you guys all doing? What's up? All right, here we go. Here we go. Who wants me to start this off? Yeah, I wasn't actually joking about the community post. I wasn't joking. Welcome everybody. How are you doing? How are you guys all doing? This is gonna be great. This is gonna be great. Here we go. All right, geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Yo, I gotta get water. Starting to get already dry in my mouth. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. By the way, if somebody donates and I don't see it, let me know, because sometimes... Oh, wait, I gotta set up my alert box. I almost forgot about that. That's very important. Where's the alert box? So yeah, I don't know, for some reason Streamlabs OBS doesn't want to work all the time, so let me just add this in here. Alright, I'm gonna add it right... The alert box is gonna go right here. Right here. There we go. Wait, let me just make it that. There we go. There we go. That's the alert box. Alright. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Okay, that is 100. Now, how much percent are we the way through? We're not even close. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, don't donate $40, please. That would be horrible. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. I think the game's really getting to him. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Also, you guys can donate for me to say GD, so I can say GD, 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 G. I can do it a lot faster that way, but you know, you guys are here to torture me, so. Geometry dash, 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 geometry trash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, saying so loud I can hear it from the living room. Anthony. Bro, my brother can hear me from the living room. Alright, close the door. Oh my god, bro. Geometry dash, 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 geometry. Wait, what just happened? Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 oh my god, dash, geometry 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 dash. I actually might make this a video, by the way. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Your mom is trash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. It's hard to say it. You guys try this. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Alright, that's 300. Bald is a lot easier. Bald. It's a lot easier to say than geometry dash. It's a whole 2-letter word in its syllables. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Welcome everybody, how you doing? Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. I can't do this. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Bro, I'm not gonna be able to speak after this. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Alright, 400. Geometry dash, 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 geometry. I love the song. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. By the way, if you guys haven't seen my newest video, make sure you go check that out. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry mash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Mom, where's my credit card? Where's your credit card? Geometry dash, geometry, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. When you don't have the fidget spinner, yeah, use a USB stick. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. 500. Oh my god. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. I can go dizzy saying this. I'm already going dizzy. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Yeah, if nobody even donates $2, I wanted to get there. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. The song playing right now is JJD Adventure. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Welcome everybody, how you doing? Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. I'm gonna be the best person saying geometry dash. Nobody's gonna say geometry dash as well as I can when I'm done with this. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Gotta play with this. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. My head's hurting. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Oh my god, nobody's donating $2. It's gonna take a year. I don't want the stream to just get like nothing. Oh my god, I'm not trying to be like money hungry, but you know what I mean, like, geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Oh shoot, geometry dash, geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. So yeah, if you guys haven't, if you guys weren't here in the beginning of the stream, let me put the volume a little bit lower. That's blasting. Oh, that's louder. All right, so if you guys weren't here at the beginning of the stream, basically, you guys can donate. There's a chance of me to either plus 2,000, minus 1,000, plus 5,000, minus 3,000, and times 2. So if you guys want a chance of me, watch this. Somebody just donated $2 right now. I would gained 2,000. That's a good thing for me, but for you guys it's bad. So yeah, that's basically what it is, guys. If you guys are interested in that. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. GD Thin, it was $20 last time, and somebody donated like it 2 times. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. By the way, sorry about the thumbnail. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. All right, look at that, 700. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash, what's up, our whoosh, how you doing? Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. This is how I spend my day, guys. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash. Can I say GD, guys? It's so much better if I say GD. Can I say like GD instead of geometry dash? Because it's a shortcut for it. Let me know inside chat. Yes or no? Yes or no inside chat. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. You guys want me to suffer. You want me to suffer. You freaking pieces of crap. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Okay, now you guys are saying yes. It's in between. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Is it yes or no, guys? Don't spam it or else you're getting timed out. Just say it once. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. 800. 1-800. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Don't time out people. GD fan for no reason. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Spin the wheel. All right. You're the thirst donation. Congratulations. You have made my life 100 times easier. It better be something good. I swear to God. Wait, let me keep spinning it 100 times. I'm not looking. I swear, if it's a minus, I'm gonna hate you for the rest of my life. Oh, fucking hell. Oh, fucking hell, bro. I just took 20 minutes getting here or something.
Rice and Stuff, GD, donated $2, Epic Doggo. Spin the damn wheel.
Spin the damn wheel. Spin the damn wheel. What am I currently at? 8. Oh my God, bro. It took so long. Oh, wait. Huh. Negative 1,000. I mean, negative 148. Damn you. 1,048. Negative 142. I meant 142. There we go. Wait, what the hell? Add counter. Oh. Negative 142. Set. Wait, what the hell? Why is it doing that? Start value. Oh. Negative 142. Set. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Oh wait, the text got deleted. Shit, I'm dumb. Sorry about that. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry. You're gonna wait till 2,400, not 24,000. You mean geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. We're finally back at the pauses. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Can we get we're finally back inside the positives inside the chat? I want that inside the chat. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 facility, geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. I gotta get homework done, so if this takes a little bit too long, I might have to, I might have to end it where I'm at. I don't know. I'll stream this like total like 3 hours tops, 4 hours. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Wait, I'm actually gonna add stuff to the spin the wheel. Plus 10,000, plus 10,000, and a minus 2,000. All right, there we go. Let me just add that. All right. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. What do you guys think I'm saying? Let me know inside chat what I'm saying. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. You're adding higher positives and negatives. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Shit, I just slipped. Geometry dash, 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 geometry. Oh my god, one more and then we're at 100 again. Oh my god. And by the way, welcome anybody else who joined the stream. How you guys all doing? Alright, here we go. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Oh my god, I'm losing my voice. Holy crap. I'm losing oxygen. I already said it older 1,000 times, probably. I just lost oxygen. I'm losing oxygen doing this. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, not in your butt. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Can I please say GD? This is gonna take forever. Come on. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry. I'm getting dry lips. Alright, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Alright, fine. We're gonna do GD. Can we do GD, guys, instead of geometry dash? Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Take your mom's credit card applicant. No, I'm just kidding. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Alright, fine. GD, 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 GD. GD, 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 GD. Oh my god. GD, 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 GD. GD, 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 geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, GD, 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 geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, GD, 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 geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, GD, 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 geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, GD, 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 GD. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, GMT, 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 GD, 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 GG, geometry dash, 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 G 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 dash, geometry 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 dash, geometry, hard and patch, geometry dash, hard, geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Bro, I don't know if I'm gonna even be able to get far if I don't even get. I only got one $2. Bro, when I did it the 10,000 times, I got like $32 ones. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, and the first half hour, Jesus. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. GD, 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 GD. GD, 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 GD. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash, osu, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, Mars. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Skeppy incoming, oh no. Better not be. I swear if he does, I'll just get a crap on me. It's up 8 RM. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Yeah, the braces are. Geometry dash, 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 geometry. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Oh my god, sick. Geometry dash, geometry. I just advertised someone's stream. He just DM'd me. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Oh shit. Oh shit. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Can I select it? No, I can't. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Oh, shit. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry. Working, should be working. There we go. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Where'd my USB stick go? Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry. Oh, I'm not even hitting it. That's like a good 30 that I missed there. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. I'm missing my USB stick. Oh shit. Geometry dash. No. No. No! No! What number was I at? No! Okay, I was at like 860. I don't know. There we go. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Now I don't have the fidget spinner. I want to listen to freaking Mac Miller songs. I'm on a Mac Miller marathon right now. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. This is gonna come flying my hand out of my monitor. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. I'm just kidding. Geometry dash, 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 geometry. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Oh, it's right here. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. I like Logic and Joyner Lucas as well. Logic has become shit recently though. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Also, Joyner Lucas started on a downfall right now as well. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. It's not Joule. See, that's not Joule. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Oh no, it's okay. GD Thin. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. How do we make a rule? We can't donate anyone else who donates. Like, anyone who donates, you're allowed to spam. Because I'm not sure if you can donate if you got timed out. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. I hate this song. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Oh, welcome back, Rice and Memes. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Shit. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Spin the wheel. I'm hoping it's a good thing.
Rice and Memes donated $2. Epic Doggo. Spin the wheel, damn it.
Please be good. Yes! Whoa, yeah! Yeah, B! Woo! I've been blessed today. Why you guys saying no? How dare you? Woo! 3,102. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. I just want to make sure I don't lose this. I'm pretty high now. Geometry dash, geometry dash. How much is Rubian $20? I'm gonna search that up. Rub 22 US dollar. It's 30 cents. Okay, no, that's 30 cents, bro. What kind of sorcery is this, Mind Thor? You trying to scam me? You trying to scam me? You trying to scam me, bro? It's 30 cents. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Mind Thor, that's only 30 cents. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. I get $10 an hour with a wicket to my dad. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. GD, 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 GD. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. GD, 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 GD. 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 Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. GD, 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 GD. GD, 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 GD. GD, 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 GD. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. What's up, crits? Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. By the way, when are we gonna do our video collab, crits? Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Why? A lot of people inside chat are like telling people to donate. Like if you're not gonna donate, don't tell others to donate, because that's kind of like peer pressure. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. When you can't, then do it yourself. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. The way that geometry dash is coming out of my mouth is like I was saying, yeah, geometry dash is really good. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, ASMR with slide, geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. What's up, Jesse? Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Alright, what's up, Doom? How you doing? Dude, is your tongue okay? It's not. I honestly am suffering right now. Alright. It's gonna be a minus. Yes! Oh, shit! Yeah, frick! Oh, yes!
Doom 762.
Oh, I thought I was gonna get a negative. I was so scared.
Dude, is your tongue okay, XD?
Look at that. We got lucky, homies. Anyone's mad at me for that. Alright, there we go. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. I'm just waiting for like that one guy to just spam the wheel, if you know what I mean. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Oh, frick. Oh, damn it. I'm gonna get a negative for sure.
762 GD donated $2. Epic Doggo _
Oh, shit. Ah, no, come on. Alright, start value. Okay. Alright, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Yeah, a little bit. I'm a little hungry after saying this word 5,000 times. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. That's not my mom, that's my grandma. Geometry dash, geometry dash. I thought you guys see my mom before. Hey, Eva. Hi. Alright, geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry. It's not. Oh my God, crits. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Where'd my USB stick go? I want the USB stick. Where did the USB stick go? Hello, do you see my USB stick? Oh, never mind. Alright. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry. Dark and Nola. Oh my God, it's the funniest thing I heard today. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Why did everyone say that's my mom? Geometry dash, 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 6,000. Geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, hey dude. Geometry dash, 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 oh my god, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. GD, geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Okay. Tell your. Hey, Va. Can you say geometry dash? Yeah, can you say geometry dash? Oh my god. Geometry dash. Oh! Plus 5,000. Alright, 11,000. Oh. 6. Look at that, guys. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Sorry for the speaking of that text speech. I wasn't paying attention. Because it was kind of delayed. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. We almost had 1. Geometry dash, geometry dash, 1. Geometry dash, 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 geometry. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. No, if someone gets me a restart, I don't know what I'll do. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Welcome everybody new to stream. How you guys all doing? Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. I'll allow you guys to split it. How's that? I'll allow 2 people to split 20s. I might allow that, maybe. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Oh yeah, I'll make it 40 from one person because I feel like 40 is already cheap as it is. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 GD, 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 GD. GD. Alright, see you soon, Rice and stuff. GD. I would recommend keeping the browser open though, just in case you hear me getting far. GD. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. This Friday. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. GD, 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 GD. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. GD, 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 GD. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. GD, 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 GD. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. GD, 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 GD. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. GD, 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 GD. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. My day has been great until now. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Oh my god. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Bro, how do we already lose that many viewers? The hell? Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. I want to have Slybox on right now. You guys want Slybox? I'll go turn on Slybox. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Come on, talk inside the chat, guys. Don't let the stream die. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Alright, Slybox are connected. $2. Alright, we'll do that. Thank you for the moolah, bro. Say GD. Alright, I'll say GD. Noosi, you betrayed me. You betrayed me, Noosi. I cannot believe this. I cannot believe this. I cannot believe this, Noosi. You have betrayed me.
Noosi donated $1.
GD, 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 GD.
Say GD. Please get
GD,
something
GD, GD,
good on
GD,
the
GD,
wheel.
GD, GD, GD. GD, 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 GD. GD, 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 GD. Look at, yeah, look, you did. GD, 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 GD. GD, 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 GD. I got ×2 right now. What's up, J Demons? GD, 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 GD. GD, 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 GD. Oh my god. Dude, I already said this so much. GD, 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 GD. GD, 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 GD. Alright, I'll do it again. I swear, I think I minus 5,000. Oh! Oh my god! 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 We're almost there.
$20,000
20,000. Oh my god,
again.
5,000 away. Shoot. Shoot. I gotta enter this fast. I gotta beat this fast before someone donates the 40. Shit. GD, 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 GD. GD, 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 GD. GD, 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 GD. GD, 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 GD. GD, GD, GD. GD, 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 GD. Oh my god, crits, no, don't support it. Don't tell someone to donate 40, please, no. GD, GD, GD. I already been doing this almost an hour. GD, 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 GD. GD, 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 GD. GD, 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 GD. GD, 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 GD. GD, GD. Ah, alright. If I get another ×2, oh man. Plus 2,000, bro. I'm getting so lucky. Oh, no. Oh, wait, no. Okay, I gotta do it. Now add it too.
Noosi donated $1 epic doggo. Come on.
What happened? Okay, plus 12,000. I think we did it, guys. I think we did it. I think we did it. Can I do it like that? I don't know what that is. That's 32. I'll put it at like 32,300. I don't know. Guys, now I'm going to give a counter. All right? You have 1 minute. And I mean this, guys, okay? You have 1 minute. Timer. You guys have 1 minute to either donate for me to spin the wheel or donate the $40, okay? Wait, wrong thing. You're welcome. Oh, shit. Okay, then. Well, I mean, now I can either go into negatives. Minus 1,000. Alright, okay. You guys have 1 minute. I can't show you guys the timer because I cropped it in a stupid way. Okay.
Noosi donate $1 epic dog.
I'm not a baby.
You're welcome.
What do we do, guys? There's 1 minute left for someone to donate 30 seconds to the $40 and then I win. 30 frickin' 20 seconds. 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, I didn't cheat, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, oh man, frickin' plus 2,000, thank you very much. That's a very annoying stopwatch. Can you stop stopwatch? Alright, that means another minute. Every time someone donates, it equals another minute. Alright, another minute's going on. Another... Wait, no, bad transition.
GD Noosi donated
What the Do you hear that audio?
Come on, don't lose.
Shit. 40 seconds, guys, to another donation or the $30. Actually, I should pull it out on my phone. Oh, alright. I'll stop that. Plus 10,000! Bro! Bro, don't mind if I do. We're at 40,000 now. Oh, I should have done 50,000 times. Oh, damn. Woo! Alright, I'm putting that at 1 minute. Alright, 1 minute left. 1 minute left, guys. I gotta pull out my phone and do it on my phone instead, actually. There's one more win than lose crits. I'm surprised I haven't got the minus 5,000 yet. Guys, there's a timer right now. We have 40 seconds. Oh, well. There we go. Alright, let's see what we got. Plus... Dude, Noosi, you're like the luckiest dude. You're like the luckiest dude, I swear. Alright, 48,000. We're almost at double the goal, guys. Alright, another minute on the clock. Another minute on the clock. Timer.
GD Noosi donated $1
Guys.
epic doggo. I'm trying to help you win. You're my new brother face with tears of joy.
Oh, thank you, man. Alright, guys. 1 minute on the clock right here. 1 minute on the clock. Can you guys see that? Can you guys see that? What? Dude, is it not working? Oh my god, Noosi.
GD Noosi donated $1 epic
Oh shoot,
doggo.
wrong scene.
Win this.
Okay. Bro. What? Noosi, I feel like you're hacking. Noosi, you have to be hacking. There's no way. There is no way. No, almost 100. Okay, yeah. I'm telling you. Wait, how many? Oh, okay. Give me like 2 minutes. Yeah, I had negative 2,000. Yeah, it's about even. I'll add another. I'll add a negative 10,000 in here. Why not? There we go. Apply will changes, bro. It's even. I don't know why I keep getting pauses. Holy crap. All right, that was my grandma. All right. What was that called? I'm getting so confused. All right, another minute on the clock. Another minute on the clock. All right, and we're at There we go. All right, 99,000. What's up, Senki? How you doing, mate? What's up? Yeah, I know, holy. I don't even know what's been happening. Sick and insane. All right. How much time left? All right, 30 seconds left. 30 seconds. Oh, my timer ended over here. Oh my god. Jesus Christ, you're like loaded. Alright, Noosi. Minus 1,000. That's alright. Oh wait, no.
Win.
Bam. Alright. No. No. Alright, another minute on the clock. Alright, there we go. Another minute on the clock. We need another one. This is starting, yeah. Alright. Bruh. Oh, man. 100,000 almost. Bro. No, Noosi's on my team, bro. Noosi's my teammate, bro. He's like, it's like tag team in WWE. Oh, shit. It was at 30 seconds. At 30 seconds. I forgot to hit that. 30 seconds. I think J Demon's just wait. Donate 40. Oh my god, nah. Oh, there we go. Alright. $2. Alright. There we go.
GD Noosi donated $1 epic doggo. 100,
minus 3,000. Ah, we keep going down. No, it's starting to go downhill. Oh no. Alright, look at that. Alright, another minute on the clock. Put that. Alright. Another minute on the clock. I need to eat soon though. So it's either someone donates $40 and I lose right now, or like we need to stop. Alright. 50 seconds. Slide, I'm trying to do source ending, but it would be ugly. Oh my god, bro. This is a long stream, bro. I got so much tortured. But that worked out in like the last like freaking 20 minutes. I mean, last like 10 minutes. Out of nowhere. I got so lucky. Alright, 20 seconds. Oh my god, Jesus Christ. Oh, he's trying to get me to 100,000, I see. Oh man.
Noosi donated $1 epic doggo.
Oh man.
100,000, come on.
We keep going down. Alright, another minute on the clock. Alright, another minute. Alright, another minute. Alright, epic. Oh wait, is that a minute? Yeah, 40 seconds, 45 seconds, 40 seconds. Nosy. Alright, 45 seconds. 40 seconds probably now, maybe even 35. 37. 35. 33. 31. Oh my god. This is my last one, let's make it count. Alright, thank you. Thank you. And then just say, it's like, if I don't get it, then, oh man. Damn, that didn't go good at all. That didn't go well. Alright, that is a minus. There we go.
GD Noosi donated $1
Water ball.
epic
Slide
doggo.
G, spin the
This
wheel
is
of
my
fortune,
last
please.
one.
Alright, thanks to
Let's
$2.
make
I
it
don't know.
count.
Alright, we're gonna get to 100,000 minus 2,000. Damn, I just keep getting so unlucky, I swear. It's karma earlier. Alright. There's another minute on the clock. Dude, this is like never gonna end. Alright, another minute on the clock. Another minute, guys.
Water bottle donated
Another minute.
$2 epic doggo. Slide
Here we go.
GD spin the wheel of fortune PLS.
Donate 40. I mean, people don't have $40 like that, though. You gotta think about that. Come on, here we go. I'm here. Welcome, J Demons. We got a minute. We got 30 seconds left until it's over. Unless someone either donates $2 or 40 to end it. It's either one of the... Oh my god. Okay, Dan, why did you tell me that? Can one of the moderators hide that message? Alright, 15 seconds. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Oh my god, Jesus Christ, at the last 4 seconds, bro. Oh my god. Plus 5,000, yay!
Noosi donated $1 epic doggo. I changed
Oh,
my
do
mind.
another. Do it, kid. Alright, wait. 5. I can't do math, I'm sorry. Alright, there we go. We'll decide. Alright, here we go. Plus 2,000, yeah, we're gonna get to 100,000, guys. Can we get to 100,000? That would be insane. Wait, what was the plus? Plus 2,000. There we go, we're almost there. We're almost there, guys.
Plays donated $1 epic doggo.
Oh.
Do it, kid.
Oh, man, alright, a minute on the clock again. Minute on the clock. Minute on the clock, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? I should put it here just so people know, like if somebody joins the stream, they know what I'm at. Alright. $2. $3. Damn, why do you donate $3? Oh, okay then. Alright, here we go.
GD Noosi donated
10,000! We did it! We did it! We did it, guys! What's up, Homer Simpson? We did it, guys. Can we get a GG inside the chat? We hit 100,000. 100,000. Oh my god, we did it. Alright, a minute on the clock. I'm still waiting for the top donor. No, he used to be the top donor. I'm still waiting for Wolfe Ethan. If you guys remember that guy, he donated like freaking, oh my god, 150 in that stream. That was insane. Imagine he joins the stream. Alright, we're at 100,000. I didn't even expect to do it today. Alright, guys. We have 30 seconds. 30 seconds. 30 seconds. 30 seconds, guys. 30 seconds. It's actually less now. 25 seconds. 25 seconds till it's almost all over. I'm praying for nobody to donate $40 because I know nobody's gonna donate $2 for no reason. Don't, whoever you are. Please. 2 seconds. $100,000. I said Geometry Dash, probably at least a good 5,000 to 10,000 times this stream, so I don't want to be getting crap. But, oh, we did it, guys. We did it. Oh, we did it. Why are you saying no? Why is anyone saying no? What happened? GG. Can we get a GG inside the chat, guys? GG inside the chat. Oh my god. We did it. We did it. Yeah! I have to. Oh man, bro. I mean, I guess I'll do it. Just because, like, I'm not going to let people's money go to waste. I'm not a scammer like that. Minus... He brought us out of the... Guys, he just brought us out of the 100,000s. He just brought us out of the 100,000s. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable.
Water bottle donated $2.
That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable.
Sonic the Hedgehog tails transition.
No. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. Geometry dash, 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 geometry dash. I'm seriously, like, I'm not like trying to do it. I'm not trying to like say as money wise, but for like the thumbnail wise, like I want to get it like a picture of me going like, and then like $40, and I'm at like, you know, like freaking 95,000 or something like that, saying GD 100,000. But nobody did it. I'm not trying to say like you have to, but it would be epic for the thumbnail. You know what I mean? Geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash, geometry dash. Oh, by the way, one more minute. 30 seconds, 30 seconds. Feels like I popped a balloon inside my mouth. That's how weird it feels. Oh, well, never mind. Alright, I'm gonna do it by 30-second gaps now with the donation I get. Times 2. We... voice crack. We did it. I'm just gonna say 180,000. 180,000 gamers. Alright, 30 seconds. I don't even know what's the point, but... 30 seconds.
GD Noosi donate $1 epic
30
doggo.
seconds. By the way, if you guys are
Come on.
brand new, make sure to like and subscribe because that stuff's epic. All right, make sure to hit the bell so you get notified whenever we stream. All right, 20 seconds. 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14. Oh wait, no, it's 3 seconds. Oh, we did it. This is the end now. This is the end. This is the end. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to drop a like on this video because I might be editing this. I will see you guys inside the next one. Yeah. Had a wonderful rest of your day, guys. This went so well. Had a good time with you guys. I'll be streaming GD later. Somebody made me a custom texture pack for icons, so I'm gonna be doing some Halloween levels, or I'll be doing level requests. We'll see. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy, drop a like. I will see you guys inside the next one. Yeah, thank you guys all for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day, guys. And yeah. Pew! Haha, Red Hughes. Oh, I'm just kidding. Red Hughes is waifu.